There was someone else in the basement with us, someone silent, right there, over the fresh corpse of an old man. I was home alone for the entire week. My family had gone away on vacation, but I had to stay behind for work. It was around 2 a.m., the kind of late hour when everything feels still, yet somehow heavier. I was in the basement, sitting in near total darkness, watching a scary movie. I wanted to push myself, to see how far I could go into fear while still feeling safe in my own home. The movie ended, but the silence that followed was deafening. Then I heard it. Heavy footsteps pounding on the first floor above me. Normally, this wouldn't be unusual. When my family was home, their footsteps echoed through the front hallway, passing right by the basement door. I'd hear the familiar rhythm of their movements, footsteps on hardwood, sometimes shifting, sometimes slow. But this time, it was different. Something about those footsteps felt off. My heart dropped instantly, cold fear rushing through my veins. I instinctively hit the power button on the TV, plunging the basement into absolute darkness. The basement door sat at the top of a flight of creaky stairs, just around a corner, so whoever was up there couldn't see any light from down here. Then, I heard it. The basement door handle clicked and began to turn. My breath caught. I moved slowly, painfully careful not to make a sound. Crawling inch by inch, I edged behind the large television set that sat against the wall. I could still see the faint glow of the black screen. My pulse pounded in my ears. Suddenly, the slow, deliberate creak of footsteps came down the carpeted stairs. I froze in place, every muscle tense, my mind racing. Time stretched as I waited, listening. And then, nothing. No more sound. Had the intruder noticed the faint glow of the television screen? Had it faded away just in time? Or was he standing there in the pitch-black darkness, waiting, listening for any noise I might make? The silence was suffocating. It pressed in on me, so thick that it hurt my ears. Could anyone really stand so perfectly still, not breathing too loudly, not shuffling, not making even the slightest sound? The basement stairs were ancient and creaky, impossible to walk down without making noise. Whoever this was had to be right here, somewhere in the basement. I started, counting seconds in my head. 1, 2, 3. Drool slowly dripped from my mouth onto the rough carpet, but I was too scared to swallow. Any noise could give me away. Minutes passed. Then hours. Or at least it felt like it. By now, my fear had faded, replaced by a cold confusion. I was confused. Had I really heard someone? Could someone actually stand so silent, so still, for so long? I estimated I'd been hiding in the dark for nearly 2 hours, and still, no sign of movement. If there was an intruder, none of it made sense, but I couldn't stay there forever. Eventually, the sun would rise, flooding the basement through the small windows near the ceiling. And even worse, something else was coming. A foul, cloying smell, faint at first, but growing stronger with every second. It was the kind of smell that clung to your skin, thick and putrid. Something had died down here, or worse, was still decaying. I swallowed hard and slowly, inch by inch, I edged toward the stairs, feeling along the cold, rough walls with trembling hands. If someone was standing there in the dark, I hoped I could slip past them unseen. The smell grew worse, nearly unbearable. No living person could smell like that. Terrible images exploded in my mind. Rotting flesh, a corpse, or some monstrous thing, waiting for me in the dark, just beyond sight, listening. I forced myself to move faster, careful not to make even a whisper of sound. Then, just as I was about to reach the stairs, there was a sudden, enormous crash. The sound of something heavy, falling or collapsing to the floor. That was the final straw. I bolted. I sprinted up the stairs, burst through the basement door, and ran out through the front door, which, to my horror, was wide open. Now, absolutely certain someone was inside the house with me, I pulled out my cell phone and called the police, watching the house from a safe distance. The police arrived quickly. They searched the entire house, moving carefully, but their faces grew grim. When they came back outside, they told me what I dreaded most. They'd found a body inside. The body of my elderly neighbor. He had apparently suffered a heart attack. Their theory was that I had left the front door unlocked, and while he was dying, he had wandered into my house looking for help. At first I felt terrible, horrible even, thinking I had sat there, frozen in fear, while an old man literally died just feet away from me. But then another thought struck. Me, colder and darker than any before. What about that loud crash? The one that made me run for my life? I asked the police about it. They gave me an answer that chilled me to my core. They found that the back door of my house had been left open as well. Near it, in the muddy earth, they discovered a single, bare footprint. Somehow, for reasons I will never understand, there was someone else in the basement with us, someone silent, waiting, listening, in the dark, right there, over the fresh corpse of an old man.